Everybody always asks me why you want to be alone, Ashley. You always want to be alone. Let me tell you why. I've had a lot of fucked up people come into my life, and I have this toxic trait. It's called caring too fucking much. Until I fucking don't. Then it's over for you.
Guys, what is going on? It's Hidan, and today's topic is dating over 30. As you may have seen in the intro, we have the typical single woman with the cat in the picture, telling how she has had a lot of messed up people come into her life. Now, I will correct that sentence to a lot of messed up people I allowed into my life, right? Let's not play victim, let's not pretend that you had no choice. But moving on, gentlemen, let's watch the first TikTok of this another woman, and I have it muted because it plays some copyright music, but it says, when the guy you had to convince yourself was attractive breaks your heart. And this woman wrote a note on this video that I want to read with you. She says, okay, but let's talk about it. So back in my early 20s, I was very superficial. Oh my. This is the first time I hear about a woman in her 20s only chasing chat and sleeping around with the whole town, not caring about the things that really matter in a man. But let's keep reading. I only cared about looks, and I found myself in relationships with men I was extremely attracted to, but let's be real, pretty douchey. As I got older, I realized we all will be wrinkly sacks one day, and I didn't want to be stuck with some shrivel up douche. Why did you take so long to realize that? You know, gentlemen, it just sounds so absurd to me. It's as if someone said, as I got older, I realized people don't live forever. Well, what do you mean? Where have you been all this time? How come you realize that when you get older? You know, the reason that you realize that at this point, ma'am, is that magical, invisible ticking clock that tells you that your time is up. Okay, that moment where you start to notice you don't receive as much attention, that time where you know you only have a few years more to get children and have a stable family, then you start to settle, to care about personality, to care about goals and morals and stability. And guys, I will once again mention, from time to time there is people telling me, Hidan, you're making too much assumptions. You know, maybe this woman just has had bad luck. Maybe she tried her best. You're being too critical. Gentlemen, if a woman in her 20s realizes how dating works and wants to secure commitment and has clear goals, by the age of 30, she will be married with a loving husband and children, alright? She will not be on TikTok crying about where have all the good men gone. Let's keep reading. So I changed my mindset, but instead of going for a happy medium, I went to the opposite route. I completely ignored looks and went strictly for their personality, sense of humor, and heart. While I think those are of utmost importance when considering someone to be in a relationship with, there still needs to be some level of attraction there. So there, I would find myself with another medium ugly brunette man, trying to convince myself he was attractive and give him a chance after much pursuing, just for it to go south. You all stop that crap. We think if we ignore looks, people will be nicer, and that's definitely not the case. You know, I agree with her on one thing, and it's that looks matter. It's women who usually pretend that looks don't matter. Men have always been honest about it. But yes, looks are always considered. Not the most important part yet. Now let's go to the moral of the story. She writes, moral of the story, don't ever lower your standards. You deserve the whole package. Alright, now, you know, never lowering your standards, I would call ambition in your 20s. You're attractive, you have your whole life ahead of you. It's good to have standards about the person you want to devote your life to. But in your 30s, I would call that insanity. We see so many women who are not as attractive as they were in their 20s, not as mentally stable due to all the bad dating experiences they've had, not as patient, not as calm and collected, with only a few years to have children, and they expect the whole package. They expect a man who will pick up the broken pieces, who will love them unconditionally, who will be a 10 out of 10 in terms of looks, personality, human, morals, ambition. No, you had to pick that when you were younger, not now. It's as Taylor says, these women want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to mess around with chads in their 20s and to get Prince Charming in their 30s. And it's just not how it works. And one final note, gentlemen, before the rant is over. When I say that women in their 30s are not as attractive, I'm not saying that to be superficial or an a-hole. I think that men don't care that women age when they have been in a relationship together. So, meaning if a man marries a woman in her 20s, he will not care that her attractiveness lowers as times go by. Because that's how it works, right? No one expects her wife to be equally as attractive at 20 and at 40. We all understand how age works. The reason why I say that women are not as attractive in their 30s is because in the eyes of men who are dating, why would you date a 30-year-old woman when you can date a 20-year-old? You see? Women who get older lose value in the dating market because men prefer to date younger, more attractive women with less baggage. But with that being said, gentlemen, let's move on finally to our second TikTok and let's see what she has to say.
Damn, don't nobody want me? Nobody. Me, I want you. I want you. So you telling me nobody really want me?
And this has the hashtag, it's a joke, but it's not. You know, maybe for you personally it is, but this is the problem that the dating world is facing right now. That average men, and I say average on the scale of women, are invisible. Because as we commented on the last video, when women are younger and they receive the attention, they feel like they deserve a top 2% of men. They chase the chads that use them for fun. They never seem to pay attention to the guys who have good morals, personality, future goals. And I'm not saying that all women do this. In fact, a lot of women care about personality and morals and don't chase chad. And do you know what happens with these women? They secure the relationship at a young age, and this is why we don't see them whining on TikTok. This is why we don't see them as often, because they are too busy having a family and don't have to ask where have all the good men gone. But let's move on, gentlemen, to the final TikTok of this woman, and then we'll move on to read a Reddit story.
There's a reason I said I'd be happy alone. It wasn't because I thought I'd be happy alone. It was because I thought if I loved someone and then it fell apart, I might not make it. It's easier to be alone. Because what if you learn that you need love and then you don't have it? What if you like it and lean on it? What if you shape your life around it and then it falls apart? Can you even survive that kind of pain? Losing love is like organ damage. It's like dying. The only difference is death ends. This, it can go on forever.
Alright, gentlemen, we have the sad piano music. I will play a gameplay while I read a note that this woman wrote on that very same TikTok. And she writes, "It's no secret that I've been on a healing journey this last year, as I have shared much of it with you all. Healing requires patience, healing can be messy. Healing is definitely not linear. Some days you're on top of the world, and other days you may break down. But remember, in order to rebuild, we must first break. I've been in therapy for a year now, working on building myself into the person I have always deserved. I'm showing myself the love I have always wanted. If you are going through the same thing, please know you are never alone. Remember the one person who's always been there for you through it all, yourself. Be the person you've always dreamed of, be the love you have always yearned for. You are what you need. I'm in another phase of my healing journey where my heart is not currently open to the possibility of love. While I cannot speak for how I will feel in the future, I know there is still work to be done and there is still some fear. To be transparent, my faith in man diminishes daily, and I have created a life of ultimate peace that I do not wish to give anyone a chance to disturb. I know this is part of my healing process, and my heart will one day be open to love again. But until then, I will keep working on myself." Whoa, gentlemen, that is a lot of coping. Not necessarily bad coping, you know, props to her for going to therapy, for thinking about these topics. props to her actually that she decided to stay single instead of falling for people who use her over and over again, like we see in so many other cases. But let's face it, she's not happy with the current situation, and she would want it to be another way. She's trying to make single life work, she's making the best out of it, but she will get soft on her knees if she could find a man that wants to commit to her. And there are many men in the same position as her. There are many men who have had enough with dating, who choose to be single, but not because they want it that way in an ideal scenario, but because it's either nearly impossible or too much of a risk to date. You know, there is a gap, there is a wall between men who want to have a partner but are alone and women who want a partner but are alone. And that wall is called woman's high standards, alright? That wall is called woman's fairy tale expectations, women's idea of having their cake and eating it too. That is the main problem that keeps men and women who would actually want to have something from being together. But with that being said, gentlemen, let's read the article story I have for today. It's on the topic of 30 years again. Are the 30s the hardest age to be dating? Just something I've been thinking about. In your 20s, you have felt like you have so much time and so many options. Then in your 30s, many people are paired off and married and starting families. Yeah, because the men and women who value themselves and have clear goals don't waste time messing around, and they start building towards something instead of quote-unquote having a lot of options. The woman who in their 20s wants to have something stable gets something stable. The women who want to have a lot of options wind up to 30 and are writing similar posts on Reddit trying to understand why they are single. Let's keep reading. I actually hide my character here. And for some singles, they feel the clock ticking if they want kids of their own. No, you don't say. The pool has narrowed down. Overall, it feels like people get pickier as they are more clear on what they want. Yes, people get pickier because women realize the things that that really matter and they didn't pay attention to in their younger years. And because men have either gone through a divorce or through bad experiences, and they don't want to commit anymore because they know the headache. But I'm wondering, does this start to change as you move into your 40s? Just thinking. No, it doesn't. Half of marriages end in divorce. So does the pool start to open up again as more people inevitably get divorced? Does it become more fun and laid back if you happen to be thrown into dating again as you age, seeing as the pressure for kids and marriage is a little less? No. You could make such an argument that it gets easy because a lot of people divorce, but as said, men who are divorced don't want to go through the same crap again. Most of them won't commit and they won't go through the headaches they have already endured. So finishing it, genuinely just a theory I'm curious about. Does it better at any point, or is it perpetually harder as time goes by? I would say, gentlemen, it gets harder with time to get what you really want. Because the time for getting what you want is in your 20s. What you get in your 30s, from the woman's perspective, is a man who has gone through the turbulence and doesn't want to go through it again, is not patient to deal with your highs and lows and mood changes, doesn't want to deal with the kids you've had from another man or with the baggage you carry. And from the man's perspective, you get a woman who will be comparing you to the best chat she got a night with, a woman that will be extremely picky and demanding, that will feel like she deserves the best even though she barely brings anything in return. You know, most people at age over 30 don't settle, and most people over age 40 may settle because it's the last train they can catch. You see what I mean? It's just not a good plan. But gentlemen, that will be it for today. Thank you for watching till the end. Leave me a comment of what you think and have a great day ahead. See ya.